You want to know what actually makes a woman cry after sex? I'm not talking about tears of regret or confusion. I'm talking about tears that come from a place so deep, so raw, so beautifully overwhelmed that she doesn't even fully understand why she's crying. That kind of experience doesn't come from just being good in bed. It comes from a man who knows how to touch her soul before he ever touches her body. Most men don't realize this, but sex starts long before you're in the bedroom. It begins with the way you make her feel when you're not even trying to seduce her, the way you look at her when she's talking, the way you listen, not just nod, but really absorb her words. Women crave emotional safety just as much as they crave physical satisfaction when she feels like she can be completely herself around you, unguarded, silly, emotional, soft. That's when her body begins to trust you on a subconscious level. There's something powerful about a man who is deeply present. I'm not talking about being available. I mean fully emotionally present. The kind of man who can sit in silence and let her fill that space with her truth. The kind of man who doesn't flinch when she opens up, but instead leans in closer, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. That's the man whose touch doesn't just arouse her, it disarms her. Because here's the thing, women carry the weight of the world in silence. Expectations, pressure, self-doubt, societal roles, it all piles up. But in the presence of a man who makes her feel emotionally seen, those layers start to fall away. And when she's naked, not just physically, but emotionally, that's when she's ready to surrender in a way she never has before. That's the gateway to those tears. Not from pain, not from confusion, but from the overwhelming release of being completely accepted. You want to blow her mind in bed? Then learn how to hold her heart first. Be the man who makes her feel safe to unravel. The man who doesn't just compliment her appearance, but who genuinely admires her essence, who values her silence as much as her words. That kind of emotional connection lays the groundwork for physical intimacy that goes far beyond friction. It becomes communion. It becomes sacred. When a woman cries after sex, it's often because something inside her was finally allowed to break open. It could be an old wound being released or a deep longing finally being met. It could be the sense that for the first time in a long time, she didn't have to perform or hide or pretend. She could just be. And that's the most powerful aphrodisiac in the world, freedom. So no, you don't make her cry from sex by mastering a new position or lasting an extra 10 minutes. You make her cry by being the one place in the world where she can fall apart and still feel held. And when that happens, every touch, every kiss, every movement between you two becomes more than just physical. It becomes transformative. That's when she'll look at you, not just with lust, but with gratitude. That's when her eyes will well up and her breath will hitch and her soul will whisper, finally, someone who gets it. You ever wonder why some men seem to have this almost magnetic effect on women? Like they barely touch her, barely speak above a whisper, and yet she's already halfway gone? It's because those men understand one thing most don't. Seduction starts in the mind. Before you ever lay a hand on her body, you have to seduce her thoughts, her emotions, her anticipation. That's where real foreplay begins. Most guys rush. They think foreplay is a quick routine, a checklist before the main event. But when you approach a woman like she's a task, she'll feel it. You touch her like she's a puzzle to solve, not a universe to explore, and she'll check out emotionally. But the man who slows down, who makes every second before the bedroom feel like foreplay, that's the one she remembers. That's the one she dreams about. That's the one who makes her legs tremble before she even gets undressed. Because real sensuality isn't in the act, it's in the build-up. It's in the glance across the room that lingers just a second too long. It's in the way your hand rests on her back, not firmly but with intention. It's in the words you choose when you compliment her, not just "you're sexy," but "the way you laugh makes me want to kiss you." That's how you melt her defenses. That's how you make her crave what hasn't even happened yet. The truth is, women are most turned on when they feel desired, not just wanted. And there's a difference. Wanting her is physical, it's surface level. Desiring her, that's deeper. That's when she feels like you're seeing something in her that no one else sees. That's when you become unforgettable. So if you really want to make her cry after sex, it starts with the moments that don't even look sexual. The way you brush her hair behind her ear while you're talking, the way you lean in when she's sharing something personal, the way you make her feel like the only woman in the room, even if you're in a crowd. That's foreplay. That's a psychology of seduction, and that's what sets you apart from every other man she's ever been with. And when you do get physical, when that first kiss finally happens, it shouldn't feel rushed or accidental. It should feel inevitable, like the two of you were orbiting each other for hours and gravity finally gave in. That kiss should say everything your words didn't. It should be slow, confident, purposeful. That's when her body starts responding without her permission. That's when she stops thinking and starts feeling. That's when she loses control in the best way possible. If you can master that kind of foreplay, the kind that whispers, "I see you. I want all of you," then by the time you touch her skin, her soul will already be yours. Let me tell you something most men don't want to admit. Being physically strong, good-looking, even sexually skilled, none of that matters if your energy is off. You can have all the right moves, say all the right things, and still leave a woman feeling absolutely nothing. So it needs to be, if not why, because what turns a woman on isn't just what you do, it's who you are when you're doing it. And here's the truth most people miss. Confidence without emotional presence is just ego. And ego never made a woman cry after sex. Women are drawn to strength, yes, but not the kind that needs to constantly be proven. The real turn on? A man who walks in his truth so confidently that he doesn't need to dominate a room to be noticed. He doesn't need to raise his voice to be heard. His presence alone says, "I know who I am and I don't need validation from anyone else." That's magnetic. That's what makes a woman's walls start to melt without her even realizing it. Because when a man leads from grounded confidence, not bravado, not arrogance, he becomes a safe place for her. Safe doesn't mean boring. Safe means she knows you're steady, that you won't disappear the moment she lets her guard down, that she can be wild, soft, complicated, emotional, and you'll still stay centered. That's the kind of masculine energy that makes her want to open up, mentally and physically. That's the kind of man that makes her feel like she's not just sleeping with someone. She's surrendering to something. There's a balance you have to strike. You need to bring dominance, yes, but it has to be attuned. A woman doesn't want a man who tries to overpower her. She wants a man who knows how to guide her without ever needing to control her. Someone who reads her body and responds, not reacts. Who leads but listens. A man who can command her attention without demanding it. And when you show up like that, fully present, deeply grounded, effortlessly confident, you create an atmosphere where she can finally let go. She doesn't have to be in control. She doesn't have to pretend. She doesn't have to perform. And when a woman feels that, when she feels that she can unravel in front of you without being judged, that's when she truly lets herself feel everything. That's when sex becomes something more than pleasure. It becomes release. It becomes freedom. That's the kind of energy that lingers long after you've left her bed. That's the kind of man she remembers in her quiet moments. The one who didn't try to impress her, but instead impressed something onto her. And it's that impression, the combination of dominance and emotional presence, that has the power to break her open in the most beautiful way. Here's something most men never realize. Her body doesn't come with a universal map. There is no single move, no exact rhythm, no magic phrase that works on every woman. And the ones who think they've figured it out are usually the ones leaving women feeling underwhelmed and emotionally disconnected. The men who truly blow a woman's mind, the ones she cries for afterward, are the ones who learn to listen, not just to her words, but to her breath, her silence, her movements. Because every woman is a universe, and you have to explore her like it's the first time, every time. This isn't about asking, does this feel good, over and over. It's about being so present that her reactions become your instruction. It's in the way she arches her back when something hits right, the sudden catch in her breath when you slow down, the soft moan that escapes before she even knows it's happening. That's the language of her body, and if you're truly tuned in, it tells you everything you need to know. But most men are too busy trying to perform. They want to impress her, show off their stamina, their technique, their confidence. And in doing that, they completely miss the point. Because the goal isn't to impress her, it's to reach her, to make her feel like she's not just being touched, but being understood, desired, cherished. That doesn't come from repetition, it comes from attention. The most powerful lovers aren't the ones with the most experience. They're the ones who approach each woman like she's a new story, waiting to be read one page at a time. That's when intimacy becomes personal. That's when she starts to feel emotionally safe. And when a woman feels safe, her body opens up in ways she didn't even know were possible. It's not about rushing to the finish line. It's about getting lost in the journey. Let her guide you. Let her sounds, her eyes, her tension tell you where to go next. And when you learn her pleasure map, when you study her like she's the only woman on earth, you become unforgettable, not because of your moves, but because of your presence, because you took the time to learn her. And it's in that space where she feels seen, not just sexually, but emotionally, that something deeper happens. Her walls come down. Her heart opens, her body trusts. That's when the sex becomes something she can't explain with words. That's when the tears come, not from pain, not from sadness, but from a kind of release she didn't even know she needed. You know what most guys still don't get? That fast, rough-pounding sex might look good in a video, but it rarely reaches the part of a woman that actually matters. What really breaks her down in the best possible way isn't the force, it's the depth. And not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. When you can slow down and get in sync with her, not just with your body, but with your energy, with terror, that's when she feels it in her soul. That's when the pleasure becomes so overwhelming, so consuming, that her body doesn't just respond, it releases. Deep stroke connection isn't about going deeper just to go deeper, it's about being deeper. It's eye contact, it's rhythm, it's intention. It's that slow, powerful movement that makes her body feel like it's being worshipped, not just taken. Every stroke says something, every pause builds tension. Every touch becomes a conversation, one that doesn't need words, and in that space she stops thinking. She stops overanalyzing, she just feels. What most people don't realize is that slow is not boring. It's not weak. In fact, it takes a stronger man to slow things down and hold that emotional intensity than it does to rush through it all. Anyone can thrust, but not everyone can hold her gaze while doing it. Not everyone can whisper something real into her ear while her body is trembling beneath yours. That's where the magic happens. That's when her body, her mind, and her heart are all locked into one experience, and it becomes too much to hold in. That's where the tears come from. There's something incredibly powerful about being deeply connected during sex. It stops being about release and becomes about communion. That's why your energy, your breath, your pace, everything has to be aligned. If you're disconnected, she'll feel it immediately. But if you're tuned in, truly, soulfully connected, she'll fall into you like she's falling into herself. You'll become the safe place for her to surrender. And that surrender, that's what leads to the most unforgettable kind of sex, the kind that stays with her, the kind she'll compare everything else to. So next time you're in that moment with her, don't just aim for the climax, aim for the connection. Look her in the eyes, match your breath with hers, move with purpose. Let her know through your energy that she's not just a body to you, she's an experience you're grateful to feel. And when you move like that, with depth, with soul, with presence, she won't just moan, she'll tremble, she'll melt, and sometimes she'll cry because she won't know what else to do with everything she's feeling. Most men think the moment sex ends is when their job is done. But I'll tell you this, that moment, when your bodies are still buzzing, when the air is thick with everything you both just felt, that's not the end. That's the beginning of what she'll remember. If you walk away too fast, if you check your phone, roll over, or go silent, you don't just kill the mood, you erase all the emotional safety she just gave you. And the tears you could have unlocked, they dry up before they ever had the chance to fall. You want to know when a woman is most vulnerable? It's not just when she's naked. It's not even during the act. It's after, when the noise has faded and the stillness settles in. That's when everything hits her, the way you held her, the way you looked at her, the way she felt safe enough to let go, to trust, to open herself completely. And if in that moment you pull her closer instead of pulling away, you'll give her something no man has ever given her. Aftercare that reaches her soul. It's not about saying the perfect thing. It's not about being overly romantic or dramatic. It's simple. It's in the way your arm wraps around her like you're still choosing her, even when the passion is done. It's in the silence where your breath matches hers, telling her she's not alone. It's the kiss on her forehead that says, "You're safe. You're still wanted. I'm not going anywhere." Aftercare is where the emotional release becomes real. It's where all the physical intensity translates into something meaningful. And yes, this is often when the tears come. Because for the first time in a long time, maybe ever, she doesn't feel used or judged or dismissed. She feels held. And that kind of emotional safety, it breaks her open in the most beautiful way. Some women cry because they've never felt so connected. Some cry because something inside them healed. Others cry because you gave them the freedom to feel without shame. That's not weakness, that's power. You gave her an experience that wasn't just about the body. It was about being seen, being valued, being loved, even if only for that moment, with complete presence. If you can sit with her in that rawness, hold her while her breath shakes, wipe the tears she didn't expect, say nothing but mean everything, you'll leave a mark on her heart that no amount of sex ever could. And long after she forgets the details of what you did, she will never forget how you made her feel after it was over.